Kyler, before the year started, we put together a list of the Reds' offseason acquisitions, went position by position, talked guys that were good, amazing, not so good, real bad. We were obviously wrong about a couple guys to start the year, but we want to go over the big names for the Reds as we hit the mid-year mark. Of course, All-Star break. The All-Star game is tonight, the Home Run Derby yesterday, and see where they stack up based on our expectations. S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, all the way to F tier, guys that just really sucked. We're going to exclude guys like Jamer Candelario, who are no longer with the team, who I imagine have easily fallen into F tier, Kyler. And we're going to exclude guys that don't regularly get playing time. Blake Dunn, Jacob Hurtubise now in the minor leagues, and then any of the bullpen arms. We're going to talk Chase Burns. We're going to talk starting 9, and we're going to talk starting 5 here today on Reds Access. Welcome to Reds Access, your weekly Cincinnati Reds talk show going over Reds news, Reds games, and more. Your hosts, as always, Kyler Osterberger and Colin Arter. No Reds game today, no Reds game yesterday, perhaps mercifully after taking 2 of 2 from the Marlins and 2 of 4 from the Marlins and 2 of 3 from the Rockies. The Reds look to get a little bit of a break, catch their breath a little bit. They're 3 games over 500, and we look to take a break too, Kyler. We're going to take a break from all the drama, take a break from all the news from the All-Star game and the news from the trade deadline and even the MLB draft that happened yesterday, and jump into the tier list. What do you think? You think guys have above or exceeded expectations or fallen a little short so far this year?
Yeah. I feel like when I put my tier list together, I had a lot of guys kind of in that middle tier, the B and C tier. I only have on my list 2 S tier. There's potential third. My A tier has 3, but it could be 2 because I have one guy that's kind of teetering right now in the S and A tier. So I feel like a lot of people are performing kind of average or as we expected in a sense. But I haven't seen your tier list yet, and we may agree on a lot of them and we may not. But I feel like I've had a lot of people in the middle of the pack just they performed as expected in a sense.
That fits the team though, right? Now, the thing here is that we're going A, B, C, F, right? And that just is what it is. It's there. I really think B should be the middle, let's call it for this. That's like, let's call it B the middle, just because unfortunately, whatever reason, the tier just doesn't include the D, which the other one doesn't either. This one, no ads and everything, way easier to read. Let's jump into, I want to do a list, Kyler. You pull up the list we put together based on the guys that we want to do. The Reds returning guys, so that's going to be the guys that were on the Reds last year and compared to expectations. Then we're going to do the new acquisitions. That's going to be guys like Trevino, Lux, Hayes, Singer. And then, of course, the rookie, Chase Burns. So talking about Reds returning guys right now, Spencer Steer, Kyler. Steer had a year. He finds himself right under average of, I'd say, like player in the major leagues right now. But that kind of doesn't tell the whole tale. He's been really good for the second half of the first half. With that said, though, I wouldn't put him in A. I'd imagine, Kyler, I think he's right around average for me.
Yeah, I have him on my B tier. I would almost have him pushing towards the A tier if he's been playing similar to what he has the past month. But for now, I'm just going to have to put him in my B tier. He's performing, I know you said when you look at stats, it's below average, but if you kind of understand the full picture, obviously the last month he has gotten a lot of that stuff back up and playing a lot better. He was battling that injury towards the beginning of the season. So I have him on my B tier. If you were to look at the last month, he'd probably be closer in the A tier, but for now, B tier for me.
To put in perspective what you're saying, Kyler, in April and March, he hit 174 with a 519 OPS. In May, he had a 726. That's about league average OPS. Actually, it's a little bit over league average this season, 103. In June, Kyler hit 302, slugged 521, good for an 841 OPS, and he's right there again in July at 840, 836 OPS. So, like you said, the second month, B, I'd say first month, almost F. Last 2 months, definitely A. I mean, we're looking at a guy that's it's 30% above average, probably a top 20 hitter in the league, top 30 guy in the league. But his first few weeks were so bad, I just can't put him there.
Yeah, no, I agree. It almost hurts him, but if he would have, in a sense, fully recovered and didn't come back as early as he did, like we kind of discussed months ago, and we don't need to get back into it about coming back early, but I think honestly he would have been my A tier if we didn't have that month of April under his belt. So
We got another guy, Kyler, that's pretty similar. That's Matt McClain.
yeah, so I don't want to put McClain in my F tier. And I don't know if that's just because of what he's done previously. He would be if there was a D tier. I feel like a D tier. But I almost feel guilty putting him in C tier. So for me, I'm gonna go F tier, and it's just he's had a really rough year, but he's kind of teetering that F and C tier. But yeah, I just there's not much to McClain this season. It's been rough. I think he's batting like 206 is his average or low 200s. He's really struggled offensively. So I'm kind of the C to F tier. I'm not sure where you're at with him.
What's funny is McClain's actually got like a 101, 130 OPS plus at home this season. So at home, he's been an average hitter in the league. He's slugging his OPS like 730. But away, he's been abysmal. And to your point, Kyler, we thought McClain was coming on like Steer in June. McClain hit 287 in June, 804 OPS. So far in July, McClain looks just as bad as he did in May, April, and March. If not, maybe, I wouldn't say, not worse, but just as bad. I almost would teeter on F tier here, Kyler, but I agree. I don't know, man. I mean, he's hitting
not
over
like,
200.
I just don't think he's performing F tier like baseball, but like for who McClain is and what we're used to, it is F tier to what he normally is. So he's kind of just in my F. I feel like the honorable way is just to put him in the C.
I can agree with you on that, Kyler. I think that's fair. A guy that for part of the year, I would have put in the B tier, maybe even C tier, comparing expectations, not how good he is, but expectations I had for him would have been Ellie De La Cruz. However, Kyler, I think it's pretty safe to say, from my point of view, I would have Ellie De La Cruz in the S tier here. I think he's been a great hitter this year in the MLB. Obviously, the Reds' only All-Star immediately selected. And I think he's really exceeded expectations and grown as a hitter this year.
I agree with you 100%. I was looking at some stats from 23, 24, and 25, and he's improved in almost every category. So I would put him in the S tier as well, all-star pick. And I agree with you. If we were going to go off expectations beginning of the year comparing, I would probably put him in the A tier because I honestly thought a lot more of him. But that doesn't mean he's not performing well as we speak. So he's an S tier for me as well.
De La Cruz hit 281, Kyler, in April and March. He hit 344 in June to the tune of almost an 1,100 OPS plus. Or I'm sorry, 1,100 OPS, almost 200 OPS plus. And in July, he's continuing the hot streak. The power hasn't been there yet. He's not had a home run in July yet, but he's still hitting 318. And I'll tell you what, when the Reds win, De La Cruz is hitting almost a 1,000 OPS. And then when the Reds lose, it's solely because De La Cruz was not hitting. To put it in perspective, Kyler, in games the Reds have won, De La Cruz has a 981 OPS, 13 home runs, and 50 RBIs. In games we have lost, De La Cruz does not strike out anymore, does not walk anymore, anything like that. It's about the same. 715 OPS, 249 batting average. He quite literally, Kyler, is the reason why the Reds win or the Reds lose.
It's S tier quality to me, if you ask anybody.
The next guy I think is a little disappointing, Kyler. I have to put C into maybe F tier. And that's Tyler Stevenson. I know he's got an 89 OPS plus, but that does not tell the whole story. A couple one-hit games recently. The only reason his OPS is where it is, Kyler, so when he came back, he was on a tear of quick home runs. He's not. He's been a strike. He would be leading the league in strikeouts right now if he hadn't been hurt for 2/3 of the year so far. He has come to the plate with 190 at-bats. He's striking out. He has struck out, Kyler, over 36% of those at-bats. not really competitive. I've been very disappointed, again, based on expectation only. I've been very disappointed by Tyler Stevenson, especially because of the bounce back great year he had last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had Stevenson in my F tier. And there's a lot of pieces that kind of go into that, obviously, with the injury at the beginning of the year and just struggling offensively. But yeah, it's sad. It really is, because I see Stevenson as like a B tier. You hope for an A tier kind of player normally. But yeah, F tier for me this year so far in 2025.
The good news is, and not to get too in the weeds with prospects or anything, we'll talk about, like I said, the All-Star game next week, and we'll talk about the draft and stuff. But the good news is we have guys like Alfredo Duno, who's due to get promoted to Double A hopefully here soon, who has a 30-game on base streak and like a 340 average. That's just, I mean, you've got guys, and Stevenson's time, I think, might be less than long for the Cincinnati Reds. I would.
Yeah.
The next guy, though, I'd say is different. I had very little expectations. I think if you remember, I was talking about how he was going to return to the mean, and I thought he was going to have an okay year, but not great. And he has had a good year, not great. It's been good, but that's all you can ask for of a guy that almost never strikes out, gets on base, walks a lot, almost as much as he strikes out, and hits a little bit of power. And that's TJ Friedl. And TJ Friedl, I think, Kyler had to put in the A tier.
Yeah. He was. I had him on my B tier. But I'm right there with you, kind of teetering the A tier if you're going off expectations of what we thought of Friedl going in. So I agree with you. I was B tier, but I'm willing to go A tier for him. He gets on base, doesn't strike out. Has been a really good contributor this year to our offense. So I agree with you.
Last year was funny. Friedl, only played like half the season, but he had 13 home runs. And if you remember last year, a lot of weak contact or just bombs. It was one or the other. He always pulls the ball. Like, they're not even hard hit. It's just over the wall. So it's a little bit, you see him go away from who TJ Friedl is. But it's been interesting to see him go back to that and become, I'd say, a more consistent player, going back to maybe, we worried, Kyler, that year in 2023 is an outlier. But it looks like maybe that is just the kind of player he is, being, just over league average as a hitter, which is all the Reds can ask for of a guy that really makes the most of his talent, to put it nicely.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So next I'm Wake Brinson, and of course I'm referring to the duo of Jake Fraley and Will Benson, our right fielders for the year. Let's go Jake Fraley first. Kyler, let me hear what you think about Jake Fraley.
There's not much really he's like F tier, maybe C tier in my mind on my rankings. I'm only going to
say F tier because he's not been able to stay healthy, Kyler. And he had I'll tell you what, he had such a bad start to the year. And he has played better as of late. And I mean, like, before he got hurt.
Yeah.
But I still have to put him in F tier. He's just not performed to expectations. And he's never been the player that I think we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I agree. I had him as F. There's some room for him maybe to slide to C tier, but I had him F tier and I had Benson C tier. I know you're a big fan of Benson, but I had him in my C tier. If I could base it off of what I like to see, or in my opinion, I guess I'd probably put him more closer to B tier, but just for now, he's a C tier for me. I don't know if you agree with me on that. I know you're a big Benson guy.
I do agree with you, Kyler. I think that Benson is a C tier. I think he's had a disappointing year, and he would tell you that. And I mean that only in the aspect of he has not been getting on base as much as he would like. I will say, however, Kyler, that a lot of balls he has hit very hard right at people. His OPS is over 700. He'll continue to be a good player. He'll continue to be a part of this team. Even if he's slightly under league average, as a solid bat in the outfield, as a fifth outfielder, fourth outfielder. So no concern at all for me there. I think Benson's a C player. I wish I could say B. And honestly, if 10% of the balls he hit fell more, that he'd be a 270 hitter. And he hit him hard enough for them to fall. It's not like he pops out all the time. I mean, he's killing the ball. Just unlucky. And so C tier, because I can't say anything bad about it, but I would say he's just been unlucky.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, I want him to be a B tier. I just think he falls into the C tier for me this year.
Well, and let's really quick talk. I mean, that's our right field in general. That's our right field platoon. It's Benson, Fraley, and God forbid, Connor Joe. Um,
We needed a power right fielder, and I know we're not getting into the draft today. I have some opinions on that as well with our first round pick, and I'm sure we'll cover it next week. But we really needed a power right field hitter, and I don't
well,
know what's
without a power outfielder. I mean, well, he's a first baseman now. But I mean, he 26 home runs, led the NCAA last year. Just took us to what, fourth round to get him.
Yeah.
Guy I've been very, 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 very surprised with, Kyler. A guy who is actually making his way up the leaders in WAR this season, despite only playing in 28 ball games for the Cincinnati Reds, with an OPS of almost 900, playing better than he did his rookie year when everyone thought we had the second coming of King Griffey, or whoever you want to say, great Reds hitters. Really bouncing back from a terrible 2024 is 23-year-old Noelvi Marte. And Kyler, I can't say anything but A tier, if not S tier, but he hasn't played enough. So I'm going to say A tier for Noelvi Marte.
So I had Marte as a B tier on mine. I had him teetering A tier. The injuries and the not enough plate appearances in time has really weighed me on that. I wouldn't go S tier, but that's just my opinion. I would agree with you. We could put him in A tier. I think I was leaning more towards B tier just because of the injury and the playing time. But if you look at what he has done in those plate appearances and his time, I think it's A tier.
Okay. I agree. I think the time he has played, he's been very good. Obviously, he's hurt. Reminder: Marte has more RBIs than most team. Santiago Espinal has 14 RBIs and 276 at bats. Marte has 23 and 104.
Yeah.
Marte's coming up on Spencer Steer and Matt McLean for RBIs. Already passed Jake Fraley. Coming up on Tyler Stevenson. Coming up on Will Benson. There are guys not on this list, Kyle, like Christian Encarnacion Strand, who, as we know, got option to AAA during the All-Star break, and Candelario. Both those guys we F tier, in my opinion. I'm sure you're no different.
Yeah.
One guy I'm also thinking F tier all day long is Santiago Espinal, who I keep hearing from Barry Larkin he's the best ball player on this ball team. And I cannot stand hearing that because he is a terrible hitter. I don't care he doesn't strike out. He also doesn't hit the ball hard and does basically nothing for this team. In fact, all he does for his team right now is take Noelvi Marte out of the game in the ninth inning when we need him.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I actually had him in my C tier. If I had a D tier, I probably would have put him in the D tier. I don't think he's F tier quality, but that's just my opinion. But I don't think he's average. So he's kind of like in this weird middle ground of not the worst, but not average. So I'll let you take the reins. I think you said F tier. I'll let you run that one out. You had a good reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I do. He is 50% worse hitter than Jake Fraley or Tyler Stevenson, who we have in F tier. He is our worst qualified hitter on the team, even worse than Christian Encarnacion Strand.
F tier it is.
Yeah. I appreciate what you're saying. I know he makes contact. He's a terrible hitter. Yeah. Pitchers, Kyler, or at least established pitchers. This is tough for me. Nick Martinez. And by the way, before we let's finish the established players, and we'll get into the new guys. But what I want to say is, you can see here, hitter-wise, I say people are really not meeting expectations that returned for the Reds this year. A lot of guys didn't meet the expectations we had. So you can see there's some guys carrying the team, and thank God Marte worked out, because without him, I think you can see here that we'd be having a rough time of it. But Nick Martinez, what do you think?
So that one's hard. I don't think he deserves F tier. Obviously, it's out of the conversation for me, but I find him more in my C tier. Kind of transitioned into the bullpen, couldn't go deep into games, but then he has kind of these flashes randomly where he had that like almost complete game shutout. And he's stood up when we needed him in certain positions or situations. So I had Martinez as a C tier. Kind of flashes that might move him to B tier for me, but just safely I left him in my C tier.
I've got to agree, and actually I think for my expectations, he's vastly underperforming right now, to be honest with you. Martinez only started 16 games last year out of 42, and that's the role he excels in. I would imagine once Carson Spires, Hunter Greene is back, one of the two, Martinez should be the one that goes to the bullpen. He excels in that bullpen role. He's very, very good at it. However, he is not good at starting. He's a 4.78 ERA, Kyler. He's looked bad at the starting role. We can rely on him for 6 innings of 4-run baseball. If we had a better offensive team, we could hit 6 innings 3-run baseball. That would be good. But we've not had a better offensive team, Kyler. We've had a under average offensive team. So we need a guy that's better than league average at pitching, and we need a guy. I hate to say it, but for a 3-man, we need a guy better than Nick Martinez. So I'd say he's very average, and unfortunately for this team, I'm not sure average is currently getting it done in our pitching staff.
Yeah, especially with the others that we're going to cover here soon. We have a pretty strong rotation, so.
Yeah, we have Andrew White Chocolate Abbott over here. That's the new nickname I'm coining him because, man, it is so sweet to watch him pitch, Kyler.
It is.
I have to go S tier with Andrew Abbott, the other Cincinnati Reds all-star who is having a potential Cy Young level season so far.
Yeah. So that one was a little hard for me. So I agree with you on the S tier, 100%. No question about it. But if you were to look at, is this just kind of a freak year? Is it just like, what's going on? Like, when you look at Abbott, to me, he's normally like a B tier. Mm-hmm. Flashes of A tier, in my opinion. But obviously, this season's different. All-star, like 2.7 ERA. Just absolutely a monster. So S tier for me as well. But I think if we were just having like a normal year for Abbott, he'd probably be more of a B or A tier for me. But S tier for sure. Dude's a monster.
I agree. And we're talking about expectations. He's way outperformed expectations.
Yeah,
like you said,
100%.
You know, somebody else
last night too. Did you see his little suit where he opened up? All had the pictures and everything in it.
I did not see his suit.
Yeah, he opened it up. It was like a bunch of pictures. I think it was him and friends and family and stuff like that. But it was like a collage of pictures on the inside of his suit. It was pretty sick.
Kyler, a guy who came up with Hunter Greene in 2022, and I thought, wow, we got 2 studs coming up. And really, the last 2 years sucked. There's not really another way for me to put that. But this year has outperformed his 2022 season in terms of WAR. He has been a very good pitcher, a reliable pitcher. He is not walking nearly as many batters as we are used to seeing him walk. A guy who's been very, very good in cutting his walk numbers in half over the years is Nick Lodolo. And with all of that said, he's been very good. I would say I would have to venture between B and A because he is pitching how I expect him to from a prospect point of view. I expect him to be the 2 guy and have a 3.3, 3.4, 3.5 ERA. And no matter how good he's pitched, and he has pitched amazing, even though it's the best year of his career, Kyler, I expect this from Nick Lodolo.
Yeah, I agreed with you. I put him in my A tier just because of the year. He has been playing well for me, but kind of teetering the B and A tier. So I'll let you kind of decide on that. But I'm right there with you between the B and A tier for Lodolo.
I can do it. I think I can. You can convince me of A for sure. The last guy, Kyler, who this might be a little hard to stomach for some Reds fans, and this might be a hot take on my end. Despite having a 2.72 ERA and striking out nearly, what is that? It's 11. He struck out exactly 11 an inning. I've got another addition to the F tier category, Kyler. That's Hunter Greene. I think he has vastly underperformed this year because he cannot stay healthy, and the Reds need him. And because of that, no matter how good he is when he's on the field, a guy that has pitched in a total of 11 games, less than half the games he should have pitched in this season, Kyler, I have no choice but to put a guy who, by the way, is walking the least he's ever has. His whip is under 1. I mean, he's having an incredible season when he plays. And unfortunately, he doesn't play. So I have no choice, Kyler, than to say that I think Hunter Greene is having an F season based on my expectations I had for Hunter Greene this year.
The clickbait of this screenshot.
This is not clickbait. This is not clickbait.
Hunter Greene being in the F tier on this YouTube thumbnail, not clickbait, thumbnail. No, if you look at the stats, I'm putting him for this 2025. If you looked at no injuries, nothing like that, only 11 starts, I would put Greene A and S tier, somewhere in there. But it hurts to say F tier. I almost don't want to agree with you. I want to put him C tier just because it's Hunter Greene. But I mean, I don't really have an argument against you with he's missed half the starts, can't stay healthy. So I'll let you do this one. I hate it though, but I would go C tier if it was my opinion. But we'll do F tier. We got to humble him.
The guy off the couch into the pit onto the mound. That's what I think. But we have 5 guys left, Kyler. 4 new acquisitions, and of course the rookie phenom. Let's go with the new acquisitions first. Really broke out early in the year. He's kind of slowed down a little bit lately, but still it's been fine. Jose Trevino. Based on your expectations of picking up Trevino to how he's played, what do you think?
He's tough for me. I kind of have him, I want to say B tier safely, but I almost want to move him to the A tier just because of what my expectations were. And I think he's outperformed that. I thought we were just kind of getting a gold glove catcher that's going to just kind of boost our defense a little, but nothing else. I think he's been a pretty good hitter this year. He's definitely delivered offensively for us in times. So I'm okay with B tier. If you want and agree with me, maybe A tier, but off of expectations, but safely, I'm B tier for Trevino.
Yeah, let's go B tier. I mean, he's cooled off for sure. He's definitely like a league average hitter, but that's his best career year. Now, when he played for Texas back when he was younger, he actually was a little bit similar to this in his stat lines for hitting. You could expect around a 700 OPS. However, later on, then when he went to the Yankees, that's when he really just started sucking hitting. And sometimes that happens to guys; they just can't put up with playing in New York.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
there's a lot of factors that go into it too that people don't think about as well.
He was excited to come here, and like you said, it's a factor that people don't think about. And we saw it with Sonny Gray, for example, as well. And we saw guys like Todd Frazier go to New York and struggle. It happens. Yeah. Aroldis Chapman went to New York and struggled. We have additionally Gavin Lux, Austin Hayes, and Brady Singer. So let's do Gavin Lux first. What are your thoughts?
Expectations. I kind of had Lux probably B tier. If I want to be realistic with myself, though, I think he's closer to C tier. He's been a decent utility player for us, but nothing crazy. I think the B tier is just because he is hitting better than he normally does or historically has. So I've kind of battled with the B to C tier for him. So I safely went with C tier, but he has delivered and when we need him in certain situations as well.
I think he's playing as best as we could expect him to play based on his last 2 seasons, which was a league average hitter, and that's what we needed in return for a league average player. So, if you think about it, now we traded Mike Sirota for Gavin Lux, who is tearing the cover off the ball in single A. But I get so tired of seeing people, Kyler, talk about how we gave up a good prospect for an average hitter.
Right.
Every guy we got in the field right now is a great prospect at some point in time.
Yeah.
And they're above average.
We talked about it last week, too, about sometimes making moves to perform now and not in 3 years. So,
and he's performing exactly as I thought he would. So I have no complaints.
Yeah.
A guy who's performing also exactly as I thought he would, and we'll skip for Hayes last, is Brady Singer. I think people were afraid about him giving up a lot of home runs, which I thought was kind of weird for I don't know. I thought it was just weird to say when, career Brady Singer doesn't give a whole bunch of home runs. He's like a 1 per 9 guy, and he's a sinker baller. And that's translated well. He's not giving up a lot of home runs this year. Actually, he's on track for the least amount in his career, since 2021. And he is pitching, I think, his 6-year average is a 4.29 ERA, and he has a 4.32 ERA. I have to say, I think Brady Singer has been as advertised and what we needed from him. You and I talked, having a guy that's going to have a 4.5 ERA, put together good competitive ball games, be a guy that's 5th man, 4th man of the rotation. I think Singer's been as advertised, so I can't say anything other than B tier.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. B tier for Singer as well.
Okay. And before we get Chase Burns, it's going to be a hard one to talk about, but let's just knock out Austin Hayes. He's been, he's hit for power since he came back. He's a little rough, but overall, for a guy that we got for like it was like nothing we got for him. Yeah, $5 million. That's A tier for me. I mean, we're getting a productive bat that's genuinely backing up Elly De La Cruz and protecting Elly De La Cruz when he's played A tier. However, he is also battled the injury bug this year, and so for that, I'd have to say B tier for Austin Hayes.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I would have said A tier if not for the injuries. So B tier for me as well.
And that gives us the last one, Kylie. Chase Burns. Let me hear your thoughts. This is weird because he's only had 4 starts, but I'd like to hear what you think about how Chase Burns has pitched this year.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard with expectations, especially with Burns. I feel like it's like when you brought him up, like it was a really exciting big moment. And I think he had a great first start, and then we talked about a second start. Don't know about sign stealing, blah, 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 whatever. But it's hard for me. I want to put him in my B tier with obviously the potential of S tier down the road. But just from the 4 performances we've seen and what I've seen so far, I'd like to safely put him in the B tier. It's kind of the middle of the pack, above average. I know he had that really rough start. I think his third start was a little rough too, if I remember correctly at the beginning.
Yeah. If you look at his best, it's S, and his worst is F. So I think something like B tier is probably really fitting for a guy. Yeah. And by the way, S job getting to the big leagues this season. Pitching there too. He wasn't rushed. He earned it.
Yeah, and that's what it's hard because it's off of expectations, and he's got a lot of high expectations just because of where he was drafted, his ranking was a really, really big prospect. So like, I feel like expectations kind of blow his tier ranking out of the water. So it's hard. So I feel like B tier is a really good spot. And obviously a year from now, he could be up in the S tier and we're praising him. But for now, I think B tier is a pretty solid start.
So there you have it, Kyler. We got 2 S tiers, really mid, like you said, and I think some surprising Fs there. I think we could have gone either way with Hunter Greene and Tyler Stevenson, maybe in the C tier, or Hunter Greene or Fraley. One of those two, maybe could have pulled one guy.
It's hard just going off of what like expectations are. Like for Greene, like he is performing well, and for a lot of people, they would put Greene in an S tier just based on his performances. But we're going off of what we expect from him, and he's our ace. We expect him to be an S tier, and he's not performing like that, and he's battling injury. So some of them are kind of hard, and I feel like they're a little bit weighted compared to other people's opinions, but it's tough to see him down there, though, that's for sure.
Well, I'd like to see him on the mound again, and then maybe I'll pull himself up to like the S tier or the A tier. Yeah. But we got to see him on the mound first. But Kyler, that's it for this week. We are doing a ranking. Again, this is our kind of a mid-year review point for the Reds. Reds are 3 games over 500. They go to play the Rays, right? Off the break.
Yeah.
And then I think shortly thereafter we have the Daytona series, or not Daytona, we're playing the Braves in the racetrack. But either way, next week we'll break down the games that will have happened by then, which I think are 2 series worth.
We have the Mets next, not the Rays.
Okay, is it Mets then Rays?
Mets, then Nationals, then Rays.
One of these games, we're playing the Rays at some point this year.
It's hard to keep up.
Anyways, we'll talk about the games that have happened. We're also going to touch on the draft, and we're going to touch on hopefully some moves the Reds make towards the deadline and the All-Star game. We'll see how Elly De La Cruz and Andrew Abbott, our 2 S-tier All-Stars, do this year. But until next time, guys, Kyler Osterberger and myself, rounding third and headed for home. We haven't done this one in a while. Rounding third and headed for home. Go Reds.
Go Reds, baby.